Hello everybody, my name is Megan. You're watching Miss Megan Knits, and links to everything I talk to you about today will be in the description box below. How is everybody? How are you holding up with your self-quarantine, your social distancing, all of that? It's really important that we do that right now. I'm going a little crazy. My emotions are a little bit crazy. Everything's a little bit crazy. Sometimes I feel fine, sometimes I'm just exhausted, and sometimes I'm just somewhere in between. So it's a wild ride, but hopefully you're all on it together and we're all doing this, and the mailman's here. I'm sorry, my windows are open so I can have some natural light, and I am easily distractible. Mailman put letters in our mailbox. Ooh, wait. The mail's here. Does anybody remember the mail song from Blue's Clues? Like, I grew up with that. That was my childhood, right? You know? I don't remember it anymore. Mail! I remember that part. Everybody remembers that part. Okay. But I'm done with COVID. I wish it was done. It's not done. I will be social distancing still, but I'm done with it emotionally. My hair is getting long and turning funny colors. It is no longer fire truck red. I can't see my boyfriend. That sucks. School's not that all different, but my summer classes, as well as this current semester's spring semester's classes, will be online. And possibly the fall semester. My school hasn't released anything about that, but a lot of other colleges are going completely remote for their fall semesters this coming fall, so I guess it's not going to lighten up anytime soon. I'm in Massachusetts, so the governor's order is officially over on May 4th, but there's a lot of talk he's probably going to extend it, just because the COVID's not over yet, so we need to keep social distancing. And it's not fun, but I'm glad to do my part. Yeah. I would talk about something else, but that's really all that's going on. Working through school, taking psych and history, US history, and they're both going pretty well. Not much to say there. I've been taking more walks outside. The weather's getting nicer. Finally, sort of, some days. It feels like spring now. There's daffodils and the forsythias are blooming and all that kind of stuff, so that's really fun. I've been walking with the dog and my mom. And hopefully soon just me and the dog if I can get over my anxiety about being out in public. Anywho, so let's get started with the knitting. I've talked about myself too much. FOs. Now I have 2 FOs. One of which I'm going to talk about that I actually have here to show you that you've seen on my last podcast 2 weeks ago. And one of which that I actually don't have here, and I don't have a picture of it. I don't know why I didn't take a picture of it. I didn't take a picture of it. I sent it off in the mail, so I'll talk to you about that soon. But first, cute little toddler beanie. So this is a ladder stitch toddler beanie. What I did is it's on a loom. This is a 30 peg boy loom. I did an E-wrap cast on. I did about, I think it was an inch of 3 rib. And then I did the ladder stitch from the book Easy Textured Knits. Not Easy Textured Knits. Oh my goodness. That's the stitch dictionary I usually use. This one's different. This one's the up, down, all around stitch dictionary. There I go. I see me stalling there, trying to come up with the name of the stitch dictionary. Up, down, all around stitch dictionary. Now I was hoping that I could release a pattern for this. I was thinking about sizing it in all the different sizes, and it would be really cool. But then I saw on Pinterest a hat that looked pretty much just like this from Good Knit Kisses. She calls it, what does she call it? Her Stadium Stripes hat. And she does hers on a 41 peg loom, I think. Looks a lot nicer than this. It's like this, but tension is much better. So I think she uses a different knit stitch and things like that. So check out her blog. It's free. Check out her blog and pattern if you're interested in this hat, because it's basically the same thing. But I did make this up myself. It's just that I made it up myself, made a hat, made half a hat, and then saw it on Pinterest and went, wait a minute, that's my hat. But it's a cute pattern, so definitely try it out. Oh, the yarns. This is Stitch Studio by Nicole, Studio Basic in Wisteria. And this is Red Heart with Love metallic and black, and you can see how it has the metallic-y bits in it. Oh, that's blowing out. I have no idea how to show it properly. I'm as well lit as I can be. I'm up in my room because the family's all existing everywhere in the house, and I'm trying to find a place to kind of wall off to do the podcast. My brother's in the room next to me sleeping, and probably not anymore because I'm talking so much and I feel really bad, but it's noon, so gotta live life at some point, right? Anywho, what was I saying? Ladder Stitch Hat, Studio Classic Wisteria, Red Heart of Love Black Metallic, Goodnight Kisses, 30 peg loom. These are the boy looms. I don't like them. They work just fine. I mean, clearly I've made hats on them, and they're the looms that I have, so it's what I've been making all of my loom hats on. Not a fan. So if you're gonna buy a loom set, buy a different brand. Is basically what I'm gonna say. As I've gone over my past podcasts, they have little crochet hook type teeth in there, and they just hook on your yarn and don't want to let go. So they do prevent the yarn from sliding off when you pull your loop over with your pick, but they also just grab hold of things and you have to dig them out with your fingernails, and it's just a pain. So pretty much every review I've seen of these looms is the same thing. But I didn't check reviews before I bought them. I should have. Okay, anyway, first FO. My second FO is something that's a little different than what I usually show on this podcast, or what I've ever shown on this podcast. So I'm not sure if anybody knows this about me, but before I got really into knitting, and then therefore crochet and loom knitting, because knitting was first. Before I really got into knitting, I was really into friendship bracelet making. Like, I was good at it, and I had big fishing tackle boxes just full of floss and all kinds of stuff. I could read a pattern and whatever. Well, I was kind of in a creative rut lately, and I mean, I dropped the friendship bracelet stuff when I picked up knitting. I just never looked back, but I guess I just looked back recently because I what am I trying to say? Oh, I was in a creative rut recently because of the COVID thing. I couldn't leave the house, couldn't see anybody, you know, bleh. And I was kind of thinking it through, and I wanted something really cute to send to my boyfriend Bear. His real name is Noah, but I call him Bear. In the mail, right? Because I've never sent him anything in the mail before. This is not an era of mail, but, you know, I figured I'd send him a letter and a little something or other, and he'd appreciate it. I know he would. And, yeah, it could be a little dose of connection that we could have that just can't happen through virtual means, you know what I mean? It's just not the same. So I wrote him a handwritten letter, a love letter. I used my 3rd grade friendly letter writing skills, and I used love words, so it's like clearly a good thing. And I made him a friendship bracelet. That's the point I was trying to get to. I was making him a friendship bracelet because I knew I had all the tools and the materials and everything, so it didn't cost me anything extra, and I had the know-how. So I went on Pinterest and I found a pattern, and I would link to the pattern, but I can't, because anytime I try to follow the Pinterest link, it says this might be spam. But the picture of the pattern was intact, so I just copied the picture and printed that, and that's what I used. So sorry, can't give credit, but if you go on Pinterest and search for friendship bracelet patterns, there's a bunch of them. And I believe there's a website called braceletbook.com I used to go on where you can find even more. So yeah, check that out. But this is the one I sent him. I know those are probably dog paws, but I like to call them bear paws because he is my bear. And this is the clipboard I used to make it. It's such a cute clipboard, I have to show it. Office supply store. And then I have this clothespin from Hobby Lobby, I believe, that shows a llama with a yarn ball with all this knitted fabric. And what I did was I shifted this over on my clipboard, so I can do that right now. And then I just clipped the clip on the row I was on. So row 1, this would be row 5, right? So I could make sure to not lose my place. And the clipboard's also really helpful for friendship bracelets because you have to anchor them to something, or you probably should if you want to go easier for yourself. So having the clipboard, you can just clip the bracelet right into the clip, and it's really easy. You don't have to tape it to a table and then want to use the table later. You don't have to pin it to your pant leg, and then you gotta take off your pants, and that what you're gonna do. So It's just an easier method, and the pattern's right there. You can put the pattern right underneath it so you can easily see the two of them. I used black and white just like it shows in the pattern. I do have this pattern pinned. My Pinterest is Miss Megan Knits, and it's on the Friendship Bracelets board. So if you go there looking, you can also search in Pinterest Friendship Bracelet pattern paw or something like that, paw print, whatever, and it should come up because I think that's how I found it. So, but yeah, I sent it to him. It got to him yesterday. He really liked it. I was a little worried because like friendship bracelets aren't really a guy thing, but I told him in the letter, like, you can make it into a keychain or set it on a shelf and look at it occasionally or whatever, right? Like, it's not a huge deal. But he loved it. He put it right on. He was really excited. So I'm glad about that. Oh, I also added to the bracelet a sliding clasp. So where you take the ends, you braid them, and not the ends. You fold them over into a loop, right? So you're covering both ends with fabric. And I did square knots. You can do a Chinese staircase or something like that too. Not too tight, not too loose so that it slides. So you can pull the bracelet, I don't have one on that could do that, but you can pull the bracelet open and then pull the strings to pull it closed. So you can adjust for fit, because I didn't have his arm with me, so I didn't know exactly how it would fit. So I made it about what the different bracelet Pinterest recommended for a man's wrist. And then I added the adjustable closer so that he could alter it to his liking. Okay, next up we have the gooseberry shawl, or whips. We're on whips now. Those are my two FOs. Not very exciting. Sort of exciting. Somewhat exciting. But now we have whips, my gooseberry shawl. Where is it? Here it is. So this yarn is BC Garn Bio Shetland. It's 100% wool. One more color, hang on. Bio Shetland. I think it's recycled wool, actually. It's a light fingering weight. Breaks pretty easily, but I haven't had too much of a problem with it other than trying to frog it. Because as you'll recall, last installment, I had frogged all my progress and started over because I was just so hopelessly turned around and confused. This is the gooseberry shawl, named after Gooseberry Island, an island where I go for walks sometimes with Bear. And yeah, I've got elements of that in the shawl. So that's just a recap. I've been talking about this gooseberry shawl since January. Here we have it. I've actually completed the first section, which is the towers. You can see here, these are the watchtowers on Gooseberry. I put my hand behind it, you can see. There we go, much better. It's a little see-through because the yarn is so thin, and I'm using size 5 needles. But I think if I were to use an actual true fingering weight yarn, it would be much better. But there we go. And then I have linen stitch over here. My hand behind it as well. To be the grasses. So there's a grassy path in the middle with watchtowers. And then there's a layer of rocks around the whole thing. And shells. You can find really cool shells there because it's not as picked over like some of the more common touristy beaches. So you find really cool shells there. So I have started the shell and rock section. That's my shell. I have 2 of them. It's 2 shells wide. And then for the rocks, this is called pebble stitch. Somebody's walking their dog. I told Jamie's really distractible. Pebble stitch. So that's pretty cool. I'm also going to do sand and birds and then waves around the bottom. It's a big, hard to spread it out completely because it's big enough that it's hard to spread out, but it's going to be a big triangle shawl with a center spine, so more of a trapezoid. And I haven't messed it up yet. Yay! I wanted to talk about Stitch Fiddle. Stitch Fiddle is a chart making website for knitting, crochet, I believe also cross stitch and something else. But I use it for knitting so far. and it makes really professional looking charts. It's somewhat easy to use. It's not really easy to use, but it's doable. And it's free to get the free membership. There's also a subscription membership for, I think, like $1.50 a month that gives you access to even more features. But so far I've only used the free membership because I haven't needed the more features yet. I just want to show you my chart for this. This is the 2 charts for the section I'm working on right now. So this is the pebble stitch chart, and I made that chart myself, and you see I messed up and I had to pencil in some symbols because, not Stitch Fiddle's fault, my fault, because I just read the chart wrong. And then here is my garter cockle shell chart. You can see it's much more complicated, but this is kind of what I'm going to use to write up the pattern if I do ever publish it. I might not. Don't expect it from me, but if it happens, be surprised pleasantly. Because honestly, pattern production is really complicated, and up until this point I've made very simple patterns that I've published, and I've been comfortable publishing them without review by anybody else just because they were so simple, right? This is not a simple pattern. This is 7 different stitch textures and different stitch counts and all kinds of stuff. And I would definitely need a tech editor and some test knitters for a pattern this size. And I have social anxiety, and that's hard for me. So it might not happen. You know, I might chicken out of the whole process. Right now I'm just kind of operating under the I'm gonna knit the shawl for me and make careful notes of everything I'm doing and see what happens. We'll see. I found some test knitter Ravelry groups thanks to the recommendation of one of my viewers, and it was a great place to go to look to see what other people were doing and what the kind of relationship is. But it was really intimidating. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, right? So we'll see. We'll see. Okay, let me see going. Oh, the colorways. So the 2 colors I'm using, and yes, on my shawl right now, the 2 sections are in 2 different colors. I'm not sure if you can see that. Oh yeah, you can. Perfect. This one is flannel gray. This one's pebble. And then I also have sheep nougat and sapphire. So that's pretty cool. Oh my goodness. Everything is being unwound. There we go. I'm taking my stitch patterns from a variety of stitch dictionaries. A variety. I haven't brought them all up here to show you, but a variety. And the construction, I got a lot of help with the Shawl's 14 Ways Blueprint class. It has a lot of helpful course materials where you can get like sample patterns and equations and stuff for how to make different shawl shapes. So I kind of combined those 2 things together, and that's where I am. Need a drink. I've been talking too much. My Oracle water bottle. I don't know where that came from. Probably my mom. She works. Not for Oracle, I don't think, but maybe with them. It's a nice water bottle, 500 mils, insulated, stainless steel. So can't complain about that too much. Okay, next whip. Moving on. Next whip is the bedspread I was working on last week. Don't fall over, please. Because I need a new bedspread. I don't need one. My one I have works just fine. But I would like a new bedspread, and ever since I started knitting and crocheting, I have wanted to make a bedspread. Like, that's like my goal, right? So I'm finally doing it. I'm using it out of acrylic yarns, like a variety of them. A lot of different ones, like too many to name. It's a lot. But they're all acrylic except for one, which is my pale pink, which is the Lion Brand Feels Like Butter in pink. That one's polyester, but the rest of them are acrylic, so they're all machine washable. And when we last left off, I had roughly this many done, this many squares. And you can see the only rules I have for the squares are the color that goes in the middle must also go in the single crochet border around the outside, and this last round of granny must be gray, Karen Simply Soft. Gray Heather, I think it's what it's called, but Karen Simply Soft and gray. And that'll tie them all together so they all look like they belong together. And there are no other rules. I am using a 5mm hook. This is the purple one from the Knit Picks Bright Crochet Hook Set. It's an aluminum hook with a rubber handle. I prefer plastic hooks, I think, actually. But I prefer grips on my hooks, so I ended up with this one, and it's working out for me just fine. So these stacks, I have them tied together in the corner, just with a piece of yarn and a bow. These stacks are stacks of 11 because I have recalculated the number of squares I need to be not quite so many, because I forgot to take into account when I did the first calculation that I'm going to be joining them with a granny border, like a round of granny on each one. So it's going to make it a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to put a border around the outside, and that's going to make it a little bit bigger, so I'm not going to need quite as many squares. But I am going to need 143 squares. And so far I have 22 done, and 4 that I need ends woven in on. Anyway, I had about this many done. I don't think I had the pink one done. Last time I talked to you, I told you I was going to add teal and pink. And I added pink, I didn't add teal. I made a couple of squares with the teal, I didn't like them, threw them away. But this bright pink is the new color. Looks so good. So anyway, these all got done since last time. This is another group of 11, because 11 times 13 is 143, which is how many squares I need. And I'm going to arrange them in an 11 by 13 grid. So I'm making stacks of 11, so I don't have to keep counting them all the time. So I know if they're tied off, they're 11. But yeah, I have all these, so I'm just going to kind of flip through them. This one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. And I'm kind of just doing the colors randomly. I did, at least in this batch. Not randomly completely, but like what I thought looked nice. So there we go. Now I have 4 more that the ends need to be woven in on. There's this one. And this one. Oh, before I show them to you actually. The ends need to be woven in. For these ones, I got tired of picking colors. I got really self-conscious of like, what if I repeat colors, or what if I do the same square twice, or whatever. So I downloaded an app at the recommendation of someone on Reddit. Actually, they recommended it to somebody else, but I stole the recommendation. And it is a spin the wheel. Let me make sure I get the app right. Spin the wheel app, right. And you can make little spinner wheels with whatever words you want on them, and background colors and everything. You can customize them a lot. And then you spin the wheel, and it picks randomly for you. So I put all the colors I have into the wheel, and I just spin the wheel, and I go from there. I do know for these groups, I don't know if you've noticed, for the stacks of 11, I'm doing 1 of each color in the middle. So that way, because I have 11 colors, so that works out perfectly. Once I run out of colors, because I will pretty soon, I'm starting to run out low on a couple of colors. Once I run out of colors, I'll just repeat things, but it's nice. Anyway, so those were all the ones I showed you in the past. I picked the colors. Now, we're gonna see random color ones now. So this one was random. Now, I would not have put off-white and yellow next to each other, but I don't mind how it looks, actually. And I wouldn't have done all the cool colors in the middle. I would have alternated a little bit. This one I wouldn't have done quite so much. This isn't gray, actually. This is blue from a sugar wheel from Hobby Lobby. But I wouldn't have done the blue and the gray, and then the gray marl and the bluish looking gray thing, but it doesn't look too bad either. Again, off-white and yellow next to each other. And then pink and purple marl next to each other. I wouldn't have done that either. But I think they look good, so I'm pleased. I'm going to keep doing that. Of course, it's my blanket, so if I spin the wheel and it doesn't come out with the color that I want, I'm just going to pick another color. But it's fun when you're just sitting there like, I don't know what color to do next, and you just spin the wheel, and there you go. Problem solved. This pattern, can't believe I've talked for this long about it and I haven't told you the pattern. I am like all over the place today. This pattern is the Triple Puff Granny Square, and I'm reading this to make sure I get it correct. Triple Puff Granny Square by Elaine Alloser from the Emmy and Leon blog. And it's for free on the blog with a tutorial, but if you want a nice, neat, printable version, it's gonna cost money. I forget how much, but I haven't actually bought it yet. But if I'm gonna knit a whole bed or crochet a whole bedspread out of it, probably should buy the pattern. It's not that expensive, and I want to support them for basically allowing me to have this bedspread, right? Especially because the yarns were all stash dived yarns and scraps. Some of them are full skein, some of them are scraps. So that I'm not spending money on the yarn. So I should buy the pattern, right? I should. I will. I've memorized it by now though, so I don't need it, but I should. It's called the Triple Puff Granny Square, probably because there's 3 layers of puff stitches and some granny. And again, I'm going to join them all with gray granny stitch around the edges. I think I'm going to use the join as you go method because I'm going to have to add another round. I'm not entirely sure how to add a granny round on top of a plain single crochet round. I'll have to Google it. Hopefully there's tutorials out there for me. But I'll figure something out. It'll work out. It'll be good. It'll all be good. Make sure I got everything. Acrylic yarns, hook, oh, my weaving and ends strategy. I will link a video to Variant Pink Knits weaving in cotton ends because I find a lot of the acrylics are very slippery, very similar to cotton, and that's the strategy I've been using to weave in ends on all these. So I will link to that. I don't crochet over my ends. I've never had good experiences with that, or with knitting in my tails actually, for the same reason. They just poke out through the fabric and come unraveled, and I just don't like it. I'd much rather weave in ends afterwards, and I actually don't mind weaving in ends, so it's not that big of a deal for me that I'm going to try and do anything to avoid it, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where I am. Yes, so my progress since last 2 weeks has been 11 or so, maybe 12 or 13. I'm not sure how many of the first stack I did in these past 2 weeks, but 11 or so plus 4 that don't have ends woven in. So that's 15, probably more than 15, 16 or so squares, which is not too bad. I could be doing better, but I'm dividing my time amongst a bunch of projects, so I just don't have as much done on one project as I'd like. Any one project as I'd like, really. Okay, speaking of dividing time amongst projects, we have 2 more whips that you have not seen before. So they're both socks. I had a hankering for socks, ended up casting on 2 pairs at 2 different times. So I will get them out, I believe, in order I cast them on. Yes, in order I cast them on. So this one, you may wonder why such a big bag for socks. I'm carrying 2 books in here. That's why, such a big bag for socks. So first of all, carrying the Sock Knitter's Handbook. I've reviewed this book in detail. Check out that video if you're interested. It's a good book. I've used it a lot. And this is the Up, Down, All Around Stitch Dictionary. That's where I got that ladder stitch hat stitch from. But I also am using it for a pair of socks for my mom. This is the Lacy Cables pattern. And I'm showing it to you here because my mom's socks are navy, so it's not going to show up as well on the socks as it is on the book picture. Yes, there we go. It's that pattern on a pair of top-down socks. Now, I've had like construction issues with the socks. I haven't really decided what kind of heel I'm going to do on the sock. I was doing a really big debate between top-down and toe-up. I ended up going top-down because I work on DPNs, and Judy's Magic Cast-On DPNs. It's fiddly, and I've done it before many times on my Carbons DPNs, but I was using different DPNs, the Ginger DPNs, and they're wooden, and I was afraid they were going to snap under the pressure. They haven't snapped yet, so my fears may have been unfounded, but yeah, that's why I didn't want to break a needle. Also, I didn't feel like fiddling with Judy's Magic Cast-On with navy yarn. Look how navy that is. That's pretty navy. This is Loops and Threads Wool-Like Yarn in the colorway Navy. lacy cable stitched on the leg, and it will be on the instep. I'm still debating what kind of heel to do. I'm thinking a French heel, but the number of stitches I have in this isn't divisible by 4. Because the lacy cables is a repeat of 11, so I have 66 stitches, not 64 or 68. I have 66. So I have to figure out how to adapt the heel pattern to maintain 33 stitches on the instep so that I can do the lacy cables pattern on the instep and then knock off a stitch. I guess I just have to decrease 1 stitch somewhere in the heel so that I end up with the appropriate number, 32, on the half of the heel. Anyway, this little contraption is a cardboard tube. I have it on both my socks from Knit Picks. You just slide, they're 2 tubes, right? You slide the needles in and then you pop it in, and it protects the needles and it keeps you from poking yourself and it keeps things from falling off the needles. It's great. So I have 2 of these. I really like them. I think they come in a packet too. Let me put my hand in here because this, you can't see anything. See if I can, there we go, that's much better. So we've got cables, we've got lace. Those who follow me on Instagram know I missed a cable somewhere and it was really obvious. So I dropped down 6 stitches and laddered it back up cabled properly instead of tinking. I'm very proud of that accomplishment. You can sort of see where it is. I think it's this one. You can see it's a little looser than these other ones, but I think that'll block out. The cool thing about this yarn, speaking of blocking, is that it's acrylic. And I bought it for like $2-3 a skein. And it's like a lot of yards in a skein. 100 gram skein. Fingering to light fingering, it's kind of in the middle. $3. And I have made socks for my dad out of it, and he really likes them. I have made, or my mom's made a shawl, and she's working on a sweater in it. It's machine washable and dryable. It's acrylic and nylon. Sorry, it's not just acrylic, it's acrylic and nylon. And yeah, it's just a really cool yarn, so, and really affordable. There are not a lot of good affordable sock yarns out there, but this is one of them. I did a 1x1 twisted rib on the cuff. Lacy cables. Heel dilemma, that's my dilemma, I told you. I'm using the Knit Picks, not Knit Picks, Knitter's Pride. They're both abbreviated KP, that's not confusing at all. The Knitter's Pride Ginger Needles, US 2, because US 2 is where I get 8 stitches per inch. I don't know if that's tight or not, they feel fine on the needle, so that's just my gauge. But yeah, they're beautiful wooden needles. Bear got them for me for Christmas. And I haven't tried out the sock sizes yet, so they seem to be working pretty well. They're not super pointy. Doing cables and lace with needles that aren't super pointy is not the easiest thing in the whole world. But they don't shred my fingertips, and for a vanilla sock I think they'd be perfect. They don't split stitches, nothing like that. I think they're not pointy because they're wooden, and if you make them too small at the point, then they'll break. So they prevented that by rounding off the point a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on here. They're taking me forever, again, because I'm not working on it for hours at a time. I'm splitting time and moving around between different projects, so it'll be for a while. But they're from my mom. Did I mention that? They're from my mom. I wouldn't knit in navy for someone who I didn't love. Because navy socks with lace and cables are a pain. Okay, let me put this back on, demonstrate this thing a little bit, and also just because it needs to get back in there. So you pop it in this tube, then pop this tube over it, and then the little openings go right where the sock goes. Okay. My second pair of socks. Oh, wait. I knew this bag was not complete. Put the books back in. So my next pair of socks, my only other pair of socks, is for Bear, because he was talking about how he loved his socks he has from me, his DK weight ones, and I had some fingering weight Peyton's Croix blue striped rag that I decided to make him up a pair of socks. Pair of fingering weight socks. They're the same socks, I just changed the gauge. Changed the gauge, I changed everything else to the rib. I did a 2x2 rib instead of a 1x1 twisted rib. And I believe the original socks had 2 colors, and I just made these all in the same yarn. So, but they're basically the same other than all those changes. Now these I'm doing on my Nurse Pride Carbons needles, and really if I would have planned ahead, I would have done it the other way around and done the lacy cable socks on the Carbons and the vanilla socks, because these are vanilla. The vanilla socks on the ginger needles. I didn't plan ahead. I don't want to change them now because I'm afraid I might screw up my gauge or something, so they're just gonna be. This is the Peyton's Croix socks. I made socks for my dad out of these. My most popular pattern on Ravelry, the vanilla socks for dad, is made out of these same socks. I'm debating writing up both these sock patterns actually. Just in the one size that I knit for these people. Not grading it or anything and just publishing it and seeing what happens. But again, I'm not sure if I need people to test it. I don't know, so we'll see. Yeah. So this is where I am with the first sock. He likes ankle socks. So it has a cuff and no leg. I love self-striping yarns with French heels because they're different widths depending on where you are in the heel. So for example, the heel flap has these nice thick stripes, and then the top of the gusset has these teeny little thin stripes. The heel turn has one giant huge stripe. Yeah, so this is 2x2 rib, French heel, gusset. I finished the gusset and I'm just gonna knit in the round and close at the toe, just like normal toe. 72 stitch sock. Pretty easy peasy, so, and I think he'll appreciate it. This yarn is a little bit thicker than your typical sock yarn, but not by much, so shouldn't be too bad. He likes his DK weight socks, so these are, being on the thick side is probably a good thing. Peyton's Croix socks. Oh, my problem with the Nurse Pride Carbons. Now, before I start, I'm going to say the size US 1.5 needles I have in the Carbons have had 0 problems for him to knit like 4 pairs of socks on them. 4 or 5. I have not had an issue. That being said, I am having issues with the size 2s in the same set. They're getting scrapes on them. Let me see if I can find an example to show you with one of my free needles. Here it is. I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not. Maybe not. They're scraped. Like, I can run my fingernail along it and it's bumpy. And they make god-awful scraping feelings against each other when I knit with them. And I'm not sure why, because I'm not doing anything different than I did with the 1.5s, and the 1.5s were fine. But I've had this problem with 2 tips on 2 different needles, but not with all the needles. So that's a little bit frustrating. I think it might be a manufacturing defect. I don't think it's the way the needles are made, because the 1.5s didn't have a problem at all. But these with one use, one sock getting this far are very scrapey, and I don't like it. Worth noting, I think Nurse Pride might insure warranty their needles. So I'll have to look into that and see if I can get just this set replaced, because I don't need everything replaced. The rest of them work fine, I think. I haven't tried every size in the set, but they should work fine. But these just don't. So, I mean, they're usable, but they're, like, the stitches I'm afraid the stitches are going to start getting caught on them because they're so deeply engraved with scratch marks on the nickel tip. So I don't know. That's my complaint. That's my needle problem. These are nice and pointy though, so I think I should have done my lace work on these, and they're carbon fiber so they won't break. which makes me terrified I'm gonna drop one in my bed and then sleep on it and then roll over and like stab myself with it. I'm braving it for you. I'm braving it for Bear. You know, I've been FaceTiming him and knitting on his socks, and but in bed while I do it. So that's why I'm braving the rolling over on a needle. Okay, I'm almost done, I swear. Now, every podcast I have done, I have talked about Plarn. I haven't worked on Plarn in 2 weeks. Especially right after putting out a Plarn pattern, you'd think I'd be like really excited about it. By the way, check out my Plarn pattern on Ravelry, it's free. Yeah, you'd think I'd be all up for it, but I've had in my head that we need to cut more loops, and then it hasn't really been a good time for my mom and I to get together and cut more loops. It's not really a 2-person job, but it's more efficient with 2 people. So we have just been kind of not doing it, and I had in my head that like, oh well, I don't have any loops, so I can't proceed. And no, turns out I checked yesterday. I have plenty of loops in the closet, or at least have a shoebox full of them for to start. So I don't know what was wrong with me, why I didn't notice that or check or something earlier, but that's kind of where I'm at. Now, one more thing, I want to talk about what's next for me. I have had a hankering, well, Plarn, duh, I'm gonna get working on that pretty soon, probably today. But also, I have been having hankering for amigurumi, just like I had a sock hankering, cast on 2 socks. I've had an amigurumi hankering, and I have 2 books full of amigurumi that I haven't made any of the patterns from yet. So I'm like, perfect, right? So I went through this morning and I looked at some of the amigurumi patterns, and I picked out ones I thought I'd have the yarn for, and that I thought I might like to make, right? And I have a bunch of stickies in there, so I've got to narrow it down somehow, but I thought I'd show you some of the 2 books I have, and the patterns in there that I'm thinking of making. Hopefully it inspires you. So the first book is Hooked on Amigurumi, 40 Fun Patterns for Playful Crochet Plushes. These are really cool because lots of amigurumi are like animals, and these are just, I don't want to say weird, but they're a little bit weird. They're interesting things. So I stickied 4 pages, and I'm going to show you the pages I stickied. The first one is the Beach Bums, and I just stickied the first page because I want to make all of them. There's a octopus and a jellyfish and a whale and a crab and a turtle and a starfish, which seem pretty normal. But they're just so cute. And the benefit of this book as opposed to the other book is that these are a lot simpler and they're very little sewing. So that's cool. I don't mind stitching pieces together, but it does a lot of work, so if I can avoid it, might as well. This is Nessie the Loch Ness Monster. I'm sorry about that. My video cut out because I had a reminder on my phone that I tried to swipe up and get rid of it, and instead I ended up tapping on it, and then that's where we are. So we're here, new clip. Nessie the Loch Ness Monster, adorable. These have safety eyes. The other ones do too in my other book. I don't have safety eyes. I could order them, but they take forever to get here, and I could probably just practice embroidering some eyes instead. Graham the S'more. She's got a lot of food in here. And Sunny the Soda Bottle. I love Coca-Cola. Anyone who knows me knows I love Coca-Cola. I used to drink 5 cans a day of Coca-Cola. Now I'm down to 1 every day. Sometimes I don't even have Coca-Cola in a day. But I used to drink a lot of Coca-Cola. So this is really cute. And there's a teapot in here that I thought was pretty cute too. I'm not sure where that is. Well, now I have to find it because I talked about it. There's a coffee pot. Oh, here's the teapot, next page. Tammy the teapot. And then there is Sammy, I believe. Tammy the teapot. And Timmy. Tammy and Timmy. Tammy and Timmy the teacup. So cute. Might be cute to do a teapot and like 4 teacups and bundle them together for the craft fair. I haven't made much for the craft fair except for that purple and black sparkle hat, so I should probably do whatever amigurumi I make for the craft fair. But anyway, that was Hooked on Amigurumi by Melanie Morita. And then this one is Crocheted Bears and Other Animals by Emma Brown. Bear got me this book for my birthday, if anybody remembers, and I still haven't made anything from it. I think I was intimidated because they said they needed DK weight yarn, and I don't have very much DK weight yarn, but I got plenty of worsted, and I can just use a hook for worsted, and they'll come out different dimensions, and I'll need different yardages, but the pattern should work the same, so that's what I'm going to do. And I have 4 stickies in this one, too. Look at that. Now, these are so cute because they're pairs, like little couples of animals. So cute. These are all animals. Well, they have accessories for the animals, too. These are a lot more elaborate, too. This is Cherry and Blossom. And then we have the Tree Toppers, little monster guys. And then we have Lacey and Mustard, a sheep and a monkey. Don't know why they're friends, but they're friends. And Drift and Sail, a turtle and a fish. So, all of them are so cute. Okay, I'm done. Thank you very much for watching. Had a momentarily. Was I recording? Yes. Yes, I was. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you want to find me, links to my social medias in the description box below. I just want to talk to you for a minute about them. On Ravelry, I'm 321TIKA. My designs are linked. My designer page is linked. My Pinterest is Miss Megan Knits. My Instagram is Miss Megan Knits. And oh, my email, missmeganknits@gmail.com. I do get those emails better now. I said it's like not a good way to contact me. I used to say that, but now I have forwarded them to my phone finally, so I'll get them. But yeah, I don't have a Facebook page yet. I'm thinking about whether I should make one, but we'll see. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Megan. This has been Miss Megan Knits, and I will see you in a future video.